Live and on your side, you're watching WBRC Fox 6 News at 5:30.
Somewhere, Scout and Atticus are smiling tonight with the peaceful passing of Nell Harper Lee, the author of To Kill a Mockingbird, in her hometown of Monroeville earlier today.
Brian Henry joins us now from Monroeville. Harper Lee is beloved around the world, but especially there, Brian, at home, where she was known as more than just the famous author.
That's right, guys. On the surface, it seems like it's business as usual here in Monroeville, and it is to a point. But when you peel away the emotions and start talking to people about Harper Lee's passing this morning, it is clear this is somebody they will miss dearly. Black ribbons adorn the Monroe County Heritage Museum as well as an old bookstore down the street. Even though Harper Lee was said to be shy and didn't venture out much through the years, there is a sense everyone knew her and honored to live in the same hometown she made famous.
Very surprised. I was very surprised. I'm out of town a lot, so I haven't been, I guess, in the know lately. But as far as I know, it was pretty sudden. With someone like Harper Lee that has a big legacy, you kind of expect them to live forever. You know, you don't really think about it. It's not something that's on your mind.
In recent years, Harper Lee's first book back in 1960, To Kill a Mockingbird, sold more than 1 million copies a year and translated into more than 40 languages around the world. What a life. Back to you.
Brian, thank you so much. Great perspective from her hometown there. Back in our hometown, the weather has been great the past couple of days.
It has, and we hope it holds out through the weekend. How about it, JP?
Well, I tell you what, by the look of that live shot right there, that's our Sky Vision camera in Hoover. I think we are doing real well tonight. Temperatures are comfortable. Many places actually seeing temps higher than 70. We're still holding at 70 degrees right now in Hoover. Winds out of the southeast at 8 miles per hour, but not a cloud in the sky out there. What are we expecting as we make our way through the rest of the evening? 64 degrees at 6 p.m., 8 p.m. around 58. You're going to notice increasing clouds tonight. Not really a chance of rain, mainly extreme northern portions of the state. Could see a 10% chance of rain at best, most of us staying dry, but a little cloudy tonight. And look what happens with the temperatures. We get down to about 55, and that is pretty much as cool as it gets during the overnight hours. Want to walk you through it, our computer forecast model and what we're expecting. This is the part where we pinpoint those rain chances through the weekend. You can see tonight mid-50s, and here we go heading into Saturday morning. It's possible we could see a spotty shower or two. We'll keep the rain chances very low tomorrow, maybe 10% through the day. Overcast skies, mid-50s in the morning, still a nice warm up in the afternoon. Temperatures by noon, 67 for Fayette, 66 Centerville, 65 in Pell City. Then heading into the middle of the afternoon, pushing 70 degrees once again with the possibility of an isolated shower. There's a better chance of rain now on Sunday. Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, especially for areas north of Interstate 20. So if you have anything to do outdoors, Saturday is the day to do it. Sunday, in particular, the afternoon and evening hours look fairly wet, and we will continue through a wet pattern even going into early next week. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here in just a few minutes.
JP, thanks. Okay, ditch your iPhones, throw away your iPads. That's what Donald Trump tonight's telling his supporters, calling for a boycott of all Apple products until the tech giant helps the FBI break into the iPhone of one of the San Bernardino shooters.
Yeah, now Trump addressed a crowded room of supporters during a town hall style event just one day before the South Carolina GOP primary.
Apple ought to give the security for that phone, okay? What I think you ought to do is boycott Apple until such time as they give that security number. How do you like that? I just thought it. Boycott Apple.
Yeah, but check this out. A tweet from JT Santucci shows a table selling Trump campaign merchandise, also displaying those Apple iPads for checkout. Guess they didn't get the message. Well, Trump's call for a boycott of Apple products comes after Apple CEO Tim Cook released an open letter saying they would oppose the federal order to give the FBI software to break into one of the San Bernardino terrorist iPhones.
A new court challenge today for Ted Cruz on the issue of whether he's even eligible to run for president. An Illinois court today agreeing to hear a challenge from a voter trying to get him off of the Illinois primary ballot. Lawrence Joyce says he thinks Cruz is a citizen through naturalization, not a natural-born citizen, as the Constitution requires in Section 2. Now, a Cook County court is hearing that appeal.
Ted Cruz is not a natural-born citizen of the United States. The Constitution requires one to be a natural-born citizen in order to be president of the United States. Naturalization can either come by one of two ways. You can appear before a magistrate, as is still commonly the case today, or you can become a citizen by statute of Congress if you were born to an American citizen at the time.
And that attorney says he's worried if Cruz wins the nomination, Democrats would file suit to prevent the Texas senator from even being on the ballot in November. That court case, though, is not slowing Cruz down in South Carolina, where new polls have him pulling ahead of Marco Rubio 24 hours away from that primary.
Yeah, at any rate, no one is ready to cede first place to Donald Trump. Now, in Nevada, the Democratic race appears tight between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. New polling suggests Sanders has cut Clinton's national lead in half.
Well, instead of looking at ending it, I'm looking at ascending in the polls and continuing to make progress.
I don't know if you knew why you were here, but I'm running for president. And you know what? I could win.
I believe this election is truly a referendum on our identity. The question you will begin to answer tomorrow here in South Carolina is, what kind of country will America be in the 21st century?
Now, if history is any guide, South Carolina has a near-perfect record of picking the GOP's eventual nominee.
U.S. warplanes safely back at base tonight after hitting an ISIS training camp in Libya early today. That strike leveling the camp here near the Tunisian border. Local estimates have the death toll near 40. The main target, an ISIS coordinator believed to be behind one of the deadliest terror attacks of last year, the attack on that museum in nearby Tunis.
This was an instance where we saw an opportunity to strike at ISIL in Libya, and we carried out that strike, and we feel confident this was a successful strike.
These military strikes are an indication that the president will make good on his promise to continue to apply pressure to ISIL leaders who threaten the United States and our interests.
ISIS or ISIL, depending on how you want to call it, growing quickly in Libya. They're taking advantage of a pretty weak central government, unable to stop clashes between various tribes and factions.
A large funeral service was held for the victims of this week's terror attack in Turkey. Turkey's prime minister attended the service along with other dignitaries. 28 people died in Ankara after a car bomb detonated Wednesday. That attack targeted buses carrying military personnel. Kurdish militants are the ones blamed for the attack.
Late this afternoon, the president joining thousands of mourners streaming through the Supreme Court to pay their final respects to Justice Antonin Scalia.
The justice's body laid in repose today inside the Great Hall of the United States Supreme Court. His unexpected death nearly a week ago leaves a vacancy on the court that even his political opponents say will be hard to fill.
He will no doubt be remembered as one of the most consequential judges and thinkers to serve on the Supreme Court.
And I'm quite confident that law students will be reading Justice Scalia opinions a century from now.
And Scalia's son, who is a Catholic priest, was able to say a brief prayer in honor of his father at today's ceremonies.
Now the president will start reading through extensive packets of information about potential Supreme Court nominees this weekend. The White House says that background will include details of professional careers, their records, their experience. It's all been prepared for him to read by the White House law team.
A Texas juvenile court judge agrees to move Ethan Couch's fatal drunk driving case to an adult court. The 18-year-old, known as the Affluenza teen, could now face 120 days of jail time for the 2013 drunk driving wreck that killed 4 people. The judge's ruling today means Couch's probation will now extend past his 19th birthday. His 10-year probation was previously set to expire under the state's juvenile justice statutes. The government is now cracking down on those hoverboards.
Regulators from the federal government warning manufacturers and retailers they're going to seize or recall any of these two-wheeled self-balancing scooters if they don't meet federal safety standards. Users are reporting 52 fires caused by hoverboards in 24 states with $2 million worth of property damage. Today, regulators said many of these wouldn't have happened, those fires, if these hoverboards met the existing standards.
Well, a sad story out of New York where a man has died while rescuing his 9-year-old daughter in this fire. What a neighbor has to say about it. Plus, with the low amount of organs available for transplants, some people are taking matters into their own hands. What they're doing to get to the organs they need. You're watching WBRC Fox 6 News.